Welcome back. This is Lana Ray with the Patriot Resource Network, and we are doing part two of the Republican Party basics. I've got Ken Hurley back with me for this section, and we're going to just start out a little bit with discussing a few of the terminology, the words that we use. Sometimes we hear thrown around with the Republican Party, what they mean. And last time Ken talked about what GOP means. What does it stand for?
Grand Old Party.
Grand Old Party. And I thought it would be much more profound than that, but that's what it means. So Ken, what are some other acronyms or words that kind of get tossed around? And, you know, if we don't know a lot about the Republican Party, what are those?
Well, let's just stay in Missouri.
Okay.
That's where we're at.
That's where we are at.
Okay. So there are several things that the Republican Party want to do during an election year. One of the things they want to do is get people off the couch and into the voting booth. Mm-hmm. So they want to get out the vote, GOTV. So if you see that, it's not a TV station.
Okay.
It doesn't mean go to the TV. It means go get out the vote. Mm-hmm. And sadly, that is our civic duty as a registered voter. And we can even back up just a little bit to who can be a registered voter and how do you even get started there. Mm-hmm. The first requirement to become a registered voter is you have to be age 18 or older. There is no limit at the top.
Okay, that's
so
good.
You can be 110 years old and still be a registered voter, but you can't be 17 or under. You must be 18 years of age and older. So that's the first requirement. So how do you what is that process? Okay, if you're at 17 years of age and you're getting ready to have your 18th birthday, first of all, you have to have a government ID, a photo ID. So most 18-year-olds will have a driver's license. Mm-hmm. Okay, another piece of information that you will need is a copy of your birth certificate. So you can take those two pieces of documents and go to your county clerk and say, I want to become a registered voter. Now in Missouri, you can say when you register, you want to have Republican on your voter ID card. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to have it, but it sure makes things easier down the road. So like my voter ID gives my name, my address, a bunch of information, and then I have Republican on it, mm-hmm. REP.
Yeah, and I just did that as well right before the caucus that we had. We were
encouraging that. Yes. So then when you become a registered voter, well then, how do you know what the political parties are? And we're just going to stay on the Republican side of the action. Okay, we're going to kind of start at the bottom and work our way to the top. Mm-hmm. But to the first level, the base, the foundation, actually, Phyllis Schlafly said the most important part of the Republican Party is the central committees. Mm-hmm. They are the most local. So they happen within your county. Mm-hmm. So everybody in your county can go and attend a monthly meeting. Now, here in Christian County, we meet on the third Tuesday at the Resource Building in Ozark, Missouri, and it's next to the Sonic Drive-In. Mm-hmm. And our meetings, again, are on the third Tuesday. They start at 7, doors open at 6, so you can come there early. You can meet our chair, our vice chair, our secretary, ta-da, our treasurer. Okay, but we have 4 officers at the county level, and you are the county treasurer.
Yes.
So that would be a good place to start. Then while you're there, you can bring your voter ID card, and it'll tell you what precinct you live in. Now, why is that important? Because in the precincts, in all the counties, but we're going to stay in Christian County, you can look and see who your precinct committee woman and committee man are. Like I live in Lincoln 1. My committee man right now is Steve Swearingen, who happens to be the secretary of the Christian County Republican Central Committee. So that acronym is CCRCC. Now, if you put the postal abbreviation of Missouri on it, ccrccmo.com, you get to go to the Christian County Republican Central Committee's website. And
Awesome.
on that website, it's going to tell you, it's going to list all the precincts, who are the committee men, the committee women, who are the Republicans that are elected. It's going to go at all levels, at the federal level, at the state level, and the local level. So it's going to tell you, you know, if there is a Republican president, which we don't have one right now, but that's going to change. It'll start with Donald Trump in the future, I'm hoping. Okay, but then it goes to Governor Mike Parsons, and Mike is in his last term as the governor of Missouri, and then it's going to talk about our 2 Republican U.S. senators, Eric Schmidt and Josh Hawley, and at this particular time, those are 6-year terms. There is no term limits at the senatorial level. There is term limits at the gubernatorial and the presidential, which is 2 4-year terms. And
When you say
gubernatorial,
that word, you're talking about what?
the governor
The governor.
of Missouri,
All right,
or
thank
the
you.
governor of your state.
It's a terminology that I didn't know, and I
Yeah,
thought other
they
people
call
might
it the
know.
gubernatorial election,
Okay.
not the
Now-
governor election.
Okay.
Only in America,
Oh.
and only with the English language can we stretch this
That's
puppy
right.
out.
Right.
And then it goes to your Congress, and at the CCRCC, we are in the 7th Congressional District, which is Southwest Missouri, and our congressman is Eric Burleson, and he was elected in 2022. But on the House side versus the Senate, remember the Senate gets 6 years terms,
Right.
the House only gets 2.
Wow.
So
They just get to getting going.
they
till-
get going, and then they got a campaign. So Eric is up for re-election, and there are other people that are running. But on the ccrccmo.com website, it's going to give you the elected people,
Right.
not who's running for office, but who are in office now.
Right. Okay. Great.
And then it goes down to our state senators, and we stay in Southwest Missouri, Christian County, which Mike Moon, who lives in Lawrence County, out in the country, the 29th is in his senatorial district. And then we have state reps. So there's 34 state senators,
Okay.
okay, and there's 163 state reps. And in Christian County, we have the 138th, which is, at this time, is the southern portion of Christian County and Stone County. And then we have the 39th, which is the western part of Christian County, north of the 138th. And then we have the eastern portion of Christian County, north of the 138th, is the 140th. So Brad Hudson is our current state rep for Southern Christian County and Stone. Bob Titus is the 139th state rep. That's the western side, northwest Christian County. And Jamie Gregg is the northeast 140th state rep. So we have three, well, two and a half if you want to call it, but three state reps in the state of Missouri that, depending on where you live, is your state rep.
But if you look on your voter ID card, you will see these precincts, these districts, won't you?
Oh, yes.
To where then you know if you're a 138, 139, or 140.
Oh, it even breaks it down further than that.
Breaks
It'll
it
tell you
down.
what precinct you're in, because I live in Lincoln 1.
Right.
There's a Lincoln 1 and a Lincoln 2. Lincoln 1 is kind of around the Clever, Missouri area.
Okay.
That's where I live. So on my voter ID card, it says I get to vote for Clever Fire Department,
Right.
Clever Schools. I get to vote for the 7th Congressional. I get to vote for the 139th,
Okay.
my state senator. I get to vote for U.S. Senator because that's a statewide. I get to vote for like the governor, lieutenant governor. Those are all statewide offices. But your voter ID card tells you everything.
Yeah. So we need to understand what we're looking at there.
So if you're not a registered voter, go to the county clerk and become one, 18 years of age and older,
That's right.
and come to our central committee meeting on the third Tuesday at the Management Resource Building in Ozark next to Sonic,
Right.
and mingle and find who your precinct committee man, committee woman is.
Yep.
And that is the foundation
Right.
of the Republican Party.
Right.
And if you don't have that foundation, you can't move on to the 7th Congressional, you can't move on to the Senatorial, like I'm in, the 29th, we're in the 29th Senatorial District. And you can't participate in voting and electing leaders in the Republican Party.
Right.
So that's how you get elected.
Right. Right. Otherwise, you're just watching the news and hearing what's going on in your state and even in your national news items, but you're really not being effective until you're working at the local level. And so it's important to understand how, I didn't even know that there was a thing called the Central Committee when I moved to Christian County, because I've never been involved in any type of political activism or even just knowing anything. I just kind of voted like my parents did, or voted for somebody other than who my parents did, depending on if I was really liking them well or not. But, because we all get rebellious. But I had no concept of even the difference really between Democrat and Republican. And back in the 70s, Ken, really the only difference I saw was, Democrats were voting for unions of businesses. They were big union people, and Republicans were not. And that was really my only thing that I knew about even the difference there. So it helps to know that there is a place that we can go, which is the County Central Committee, which is the Republican Party. And we can find, you can talk to people. Our House reps, a lot of them are there at the meetings.
When they're not in session. Right now they're in session, but out of session, they join our monthly meeting, and you get to go up and shake their hand and ask them questions.
That's right.
You don't have to drive to Jeff City to see them.
Right. And then, of course, we just recently had the Christian County Caucus because, that was voted on by the state Congress, right? The state, am I saying it right?
No, okay.
Voted to have the caucus instead of primary for president.
And that's actually another segment down the road, because that's a 15-minute video right there.
Right. So, but we did just recently do that, and it was a great thing to see.
How it functions.
Everybody, and everybody got to come up to the mic if they wanted to and share what they wanted to change or talk about or just make a comment about. It was a great time.
The main website is ccrccmo.com.
Yeah.
And that will lead you there to all the information for the Republican Party in Christian County.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll stop there for part 2 and we'll come back for part 3. And I want to talk about a little bit more specifics about the Republican Party and what exactly is it, and is it attached at all to the federal government?
Or any level of government.
Or any level of government. So we're going to come back part 3 and talk about that.